So they played the new trailer, and it was basically it was sort of what I expected. They already teased a while ago that it was probably going to be Delilah. That's what I think everyone was expecting. She was a new character in the story mode of the season 1 story mode. And obviously new character design. She looks like she would be... It's like the Gold Lewis thing. There's too much effort put into this character design for her to just be like a side character. And she's too prominent in the story. I guess there's exceptions. Like Robo-Kai or something like that. But in Exerd. But so it sort of subverted my expectations. I had a theory where I was like, oh, what if they bring Bedman's playstyle back, but as Delilah? And it'll be like Delilah, because Bedman's whole gimmick in Exerd was that he would use a special move, and then he could do another version. Basically, he would use the special move, and then he had a deja vu version of the special. So it would always leave behind like a seal in the air, like a little icon, and then he could move wherever else on the screen, but then he could basically do the reverse of the same input. So like instead of a quarter circle forward, he'd do a quarter circle back. And then basically like a clone of Bedman, a little like psychic clone, would appear at the symbol, the icon, and then it would do the special move. It would repeat it. So that was like he would set up like really tricky mix-ups and like pressure scenarios and stuff like that. Cool character to actually watch. A lot of people don't care for Bedman. I honestly did not expect him to come back, but I was like, okay, if they do, they have. I think my guess would be that it would be like Delilah uses a move, right? Delilah uses a move that's similar to a move that Bedman had. And then because they already set up that like, okay, well the bed is still alive, but even though Bedman's dead, the bed is alive. The man in the bed is dead, but the bed is not dead. And it like has his soul or something in it. Who knows? It's like all fucked up and broken. And tattered and shattered. So it was like, okay, so what if they... I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast, but my idea was Delilah does a move that's similar to Bedman's, and then instead of like, you know how Bedman would create like a deja vu little clone of himself when he used that, when he would like repeat the move, instead the bed comes out and repeats the move or something like that. Maybe they could, I don't know, add something else to it, but like that was my idea for how they could redo that kind of a play style. Maybe give Delilah some of her own, maybe like her own moveset apart from like Bedman specials, like different normals, and maybe like Delilah's specials could have worked a little differently, but the deja vu versions that the bed did would be the old Bedman moves, huh? Like Delilah throws out a different kind of projectile, and then the bed comes out and it throws the Bedman style projectile, that kind of thing. No, that's not what they ended up doing, and I was a little surprised, but it seems like it's just bringing Bedman back, but a little different with a couple little changes. So one of the things that so first of all, it's not Delilah, it is Bedman with a question mark. It's Bedman? Bedman? Bedman has... I made a tweet about how it's Bedman and Delilah. They're both together, but I made a tweet about how Bedman in Strive is the same character as BB Hood. And that is because Delilah does not actually do any fighting. Delilah is just there. Kind of similar to BB Hood's dog. BB Hood's dog is just there to look scared when she like shoots a rocket and to kind of prance around with her. So what I'm saying is that Delilah is a dog. Delilah does have that kind of like dog energy. You know what I'm talking about? Like, she doesn't have that dog in her, but she is the dog. So it looks like, because there's a shot where you can tell, like, okay, yeah, Delilah doesn't really do anything. If you pay attention, you can tell that, like, they're literally on, like, different layers of the screen. Like, Delilah is, I think, always she's on, like, a layer in front of Bedman, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, she'll always appear in front of him on the stage. So, like, Bedman is the actual character, or the bed is the actual character that you're controlling. Delilah is just there to react and look freaked out. Which, I'm imagining some people might be a little disappointed. Then again, I don't know how many people were actually excited to play as Delilah. But I think visually it actually looks really cool. Like, tons of... So they actually delayed this character by like 2 weeks or something, and which they said for polish reasons. And I was like, did they mean bug fixes? And maybe, but also... it might have literally just been they wanted to add more stuff to the animations. Like, add more shit to Delilah. Visually, I think that they look really cool together when they're doing things, because she reacts to, like, everything that he's doing, and it's really cool looking. I'm just like... If I just thumb through the video, I guess. Yeah, like, every single animation. The bed slam, she's, like, holding onto the bed. She's always like holding on to like one of the arms. When he jumps, she looks all worried. He's doing the throw, and she's like, ah! It's funny. So I was like, okay, so it's just Bedman then. But then I watched the trailer back, and I did a little slow mo, because I was like, okay, well, how much original Bedman stuff does the new version of the character actually have? And I think this version of the character actually has more stuff than the old Xrd version. So just from like observation, I'm pretty sure he has at least one new special. At least one. So I just made a couple notes. So he keeps the spin, the little top spin move, keeps the bed slam. The head projectile move from Xrd is now like it's been changed. It's like a similar idea, but it's been changed to kind of reflect how the bed's all broken and messed up. It actually weirdly reminds me a lot of ways of like the Fiddlesticks rework from League of Legends, which is like one of the best reworks they ever did. Very similar feeling between these two characters for me, like the kind of shambly nightmare kind of creatures. So instead of just like throwing a projectile, it's like this weird... I checked it out. There's a shot where yeah, what does he do? Yeah, so he's just pressuring Sin, and then I even, just because I was so curious as to like what moves that he kept. Does like a 2p, 5p. I timed out the frames, and I'm like, okay, 2p comes out in 5 frames. This move comes out in 5 frames. This comes out in 6 frames. This has got to be like 2p, 5p. Into this move where he basically like, it's like the new version of the head toss, except he like swings the head. He swings the head, and it's like an up close, almost like melee hit, and then the head pops off and explodes. And this move recovers super fast. Like he has time to backdash, so it's like Sin. Sin has enough time to recover and to do like, what is that move Sin has, like 5H, something like that. And Bedman has enough time between the first hit. So like he does the first hit, the little like swing. Sin can recover. Bedman tosses the bomb, lobs the bomb, and then has enough time to backdash out of Sin's move. Sin gets like hit by it and gets launched up. So like it seems like it's actually just really fast recovery. So I don't think it's meant to be used as like a regular projectile, because one, it has it's like a 2 hits with like a close range hit, and it recovers really fast. Which most projectiles don't usually do. Like, usually if you just use a projectile in your opponent's face, tends to be not very safe. So I think it's actually meant to be used as, like, up close, a pressure thing. But he still has... Excuse me, why am I burping all of a sudden? It's because I'm talking. But he also has, like, a new projectile. This is at least... No, there's at least 2 new special moves. I misremembered. There's at least 2 new special moves. One of them is this kind of like spike thing that he shoots out. There's a version in the air and then a version on the ground, and then there's shot. It's kind of near the end of the trailer, where where is it? Where he does the ground version, and then I think this might be some kind of like a deja vu mechanic, similar to that, because so he shoots one in the air, he lands, shoots one on the ground, and then this Kai jumps, and Bedman shoots another projectile, but there's like this little red kind of like wow effect around the head of the bed, and the projectile that shoots out, that's like an anti-air version, is not physical. They're like physical spikes, but the anti-air version is like an energy one. It looks like lightning or something, and it happens really fast too. It's like land into almost immediately follows up with the air version, or the anti-air version. So it's like maybe there's like a thing where he can repeat a special or something like that, or some kind. Maybe there's actually is some kind of deja vu mechanic. I could tell just from previous trailers, sometimes they just don't include mechanics, or mechanics are a little more complicated than they can really show in like a 30-second trailer, basically. Or 30 seconds of footage just kind of cut together. And the other new special move is this one that happens right at the end, where it's like one of the last shots. So it's actually, there's two specific details. I think this is the one. So he goes up, he does like close slash, 2S, 5H into super. Oh, okay, that's not the one I was looking at. Yeah, so there's a shot where it's like around 50 seconds. So he still has the classic jump H, and Bedman is retaining that goofy, wacky ass 8-way air dash thing that lets him like do funny, funky Eno resets. So he does like that to like jump H, this big multi-hitting move, air dashes down to the ground, and does like a JP, I'm assuming. 2K, which I figured was like, it has to be this move where he just like juts remember, the man in the bed is dead, so the bed just has to make up for the things that the man is not there for. So the new 2K I figured out was just this move where it shoots this, it just kind of juts the spikes out from the bottom wheels, or the front wheels, I guess is what they would be called, because there's a shot where it does 2K 2D, and it has to be 2K. So it does that 2K into an overhead command normal. It has to be a command normal because of the Gatling system. So I'm assuming something like probably a 6H. Dude, Delilah's face in this is so funny. Oh my god. Oh my god. This like just giant, just fucking palm slam. Which launches Happy Chaos up into the air. Like it causes a big ass ground bounce. Into the second new special, which is where he kind of whips one of his arms, and it just generates an explosion at the end. I slowed it down because I was like, where does this explosion come from? I thought it might have been the bomb lob thing, but no, it's actually, if you slow it like down, just go frame by frame, around the point where the arm reaches Happy Chaos, there's this kind of like wow, like distortion effect, and then just like a second, like literally 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, boom, big ass explosion. I think there's a new 2H as well. There's this shot where it's this really cool, I'm talking about like the Fiddlesticks comparison from Liga de Leyendos. I think that's how you say that in Spanish. It's the shot where he's fighting Zato, and it's this like just chugga chugga, just grinding down on the ground, just this like war machine, chugga 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 chugga. And it actually, I think it's a new 2H, because then he does the spin after that, and the 2H actually launches, so it's a 2H with like a natural launcher, which is kind of neat. A lot of people were I think this character actually looks kind of cool as like a I'm assuming a simpler character. Bedman was always kind of like, you could tell in Exert he was designed to be like a simpler character or like an easier character to pick up because his inputs were really simple, just like quarter circles and stuff. His generally his I feel like for a new player, his playstyle was not that difficult to wrap your head around. Like, oh, okay, you do a move, you repeat the move, and then you do another move while the move is repeating, and you keep your opponent blocking and stuff like that. And then you get a hit, and then you do like spin or whatever. Like, pretty approachable character. And it looks generally like, I'm assuming that they keep the same kinds of inputs for him in this game. I could see him also be fairly approachable. I'm curious as to whether or not they actually incorporate any of the deja vu stuff with repeating specials and things like that, or if it's just confined to one special or something. Because there's just one shot where he actually excuse me, where he actually seems to use any kind of unique mechanic with like that anti-air kind of lightning projectile. I'm trying to think of the other trailers for characters and if they had like mechanics that were just not shown off yet. It was like, I vaguely recall, I think Sins wasn't super clear like how his follow-ups worked just from his trailer. I remember like, I think Gold Lewis, it wasn't really clear, like, okay, well, he has these coffin moves, how does it work? Oh, okay. I don't think there's any, like, mechanics, specifically.